It's day 4 of Hunter Biden's gun trial in Baltimore. He arrived to court earlier with his wife. He's on trial for gun charges. Now, yesterday, his ex-wife and ex-girlfriend testified. So for the latest on the trial and what's at stake for the president's son, we are joined by friend of the show and veteran trial attorney Mark Eiglarsh.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. So good to see you. You know, Mark is such a class act. He wrote me this morning asking about my daughter Sophie's birthday.
Hey!
So we love you, Mark. Okay.
My birthday was yesterday, Mark.
Oh, you missed it. It was his birthday yesterday.
Oh, yeah, woohoo.
Okay, so Mark, can you fill us in on what led to all this? Wasn't this originally supposed to be settled with a plea agreement? What happened?
Yes, well, the judge, who has a lifetime appointment because she's a federal judge and not a state judge, said, no, not good enough. I will not take this plea bargain. And so that's why we're going to trial. Even though the prosecutor, who knows the case better than anybody because they worked the case up from the very ground up, they know the challenges, they know the intricacies, they know the mitigation. And they said, this is the appropriate sentence. This is how it should be, Judge. The judge said, no, I'm not going to accept it. That's why we're going to trial.
So really quickly, what is the appropriate sentence for an everyday American? I'm just curious. Does it even come to this?
I think that a lot of prosecutors would use their discretion and not even bring a case like this. It's so many years later. He's gone through rehab. If they do bring a case like this, it's usually handled in some type of diversion, a little slap on the wrist, a little probation. Now we're going through this major trial. Come on.
All right.
So, Mark, I think it's important for people to understand what exactly is Hunter accused of doing?
Thank you.
He went into a place to buy a gun, and on the form where he's supposed to be honest, they ask him, are you using drugs? And he said no. Are you an addict? And he said no. Prosecutors say that's a lie. And one would argue, well, that is a lie because he was using it, and he was using it a lot.
Yeah.
So we just saw both the Hunter's exes. They both testified yesterday along with the gun store clerk. So what type of evidence has been presented so far by them?
The better question is, what haven't they presented? The only thing missing, I mean, they've got video. They have his own words from his book talking about how active he was in using drugs. The only thing missing was a busload of nuns who got high with him. I mean, they've got everything else. And I'm reminded, Jeff, I'm glad you're asking this question, of the quotation that you used in your yearbook, which prosecutors will likely use in closing argument. It was Aristotle who said, he who smokes crack every 20 minutes is an addict.
Yeah, that's right under 4 years football.
Yeah.
Smoke crack. Don't smoke crack.
Aristotle.
I mean, this is, I always like to put these hypothetical situations together. So you are Hunter's lawyer. What defense are you going with?
I argue that when he filled out the form, he didn't lie. Why? Because the question is, are you using drugs? Today, no, I'm not.
I was going
In
to
fact,
ask
there's
about
evidence of
that. I swear, I was like, is there nuance of like, am I currently in this doing it today?
That's not okay.
Right.
That's
So
not,
we got
no,
him there.
listen.
Not have you ever,
I'm not
but
saying,
are you?
I know, but like, listen, you know me. I'm going to go both ways here. I'm an advocate for gun reform, so I'm going to be an advocate saying what he did was wrong. He should suffer the penalty. Now, does that mean that we should make an example out of him because he's the president's son? No, I don't think so. I think he should be treated like everybody else.
I'm not saying this right. I'm just saying the question was opaque and could be answered in many different ways.
Good word.
So that's one part of the question. The second part is, are you an addict? And listen, by almost everyone's definition, he was. But the defense will be, he's in deep denial.
Right.
He doesn't know that he's an addict. He doesn't want to believe he's an addict. And so arguably, don't kill the messenger, this is the defense argument, he wasn't lying. He was telling his truth when he checked off no.
I got to say, Mark, I've spoken to addicts about this, and I won't name names of people, and they say sometimes you don't know you're an addict when you're deep in it. Now, is that a defense attorney daughter saying that? Yes. So
I don't agree.
Fair enough.
Or a manager at Pier 1 Imports.
I like this dress. I like this dress. Mark, how do you... Mark,
He liked that one. Mark liked that one.
Mark, how do you think you like this dress? I'm kidding. How do you think the jury is going to rule in this case?
I think that it could go either way, and I'm going to tell you why. They've got home court advantage, right? The jurors are from Delaware. Apparently the Bidens are loved there.
Beloved.
And they can easily say that it wasn't his truth. And they can also nullify this. The jury nullification is, all right, maybe he did something technically wrong, but look where he is now.
Right.
We're years later.
Yeah.
He went through recovery. Addiction is a disease and it's insidious. And at the time, his head was scrambled. Is this really a criminal case or not? I could see it going both ways.
That I agree with. I like that end statement. If you've overcome all that adversity and you're clean now, I think that's something that the judge should take into consideration. Mark, thank you for joining us on DBL. For more information on Mark and his law firm, go to speaktomark.com. Bye, Mark.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me. Happy birthday, sir.
She's here. Oh, she said Sophie.